We are Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
First off, I would like to thank Coach Wallace and Coach Ferenc for letting me live out a dream of mine. Coach Wallace is the reason I chose to play football at Iowa. Secondly, I would like to thank my football brothers for making this last year so enjoyable. I've made bonds with those guys that will last a lifetime. With that being said, I would like to announce that I will be transitioning to just wrestling for the next 10 months in order to win a world title, NCAA title, and an NCAA team title. To meet those goals will require my full attention for the next 10 months. But this is not the end of my football career. I will start back up in spring ball. Thank you to the best fans in the world, and go Hawks, Ben Keuter.
So I find it a little comical that he said a team title.
Yeah. It's like the Meatloaf song, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I mean, even him saying he wants to get that individual title, I'm a little skeptical on that one
The
this year.
disrespect here for the Hawkeyes, man. What did
Uh,
they ever do to you?
Personally, or it's just like,
Just because Keeter won the world team spot for the U20s doesn't mean that he's about to go win an NCAA title, especially with the
Listen,
returning
Mike,
champ coming back.
you were rooting for Sorensen to win.
I
for
was,
years.
I picked Sorensen to make the finals.
You picked Sorensen to win.
I picked Sorensen to make the finals, not to win the title.
We're all Sammy Brooks
Anyway,
fans.
what do we think about Ben Keeter's decision? Because Mike, you've talked about it a lot in how you didn't think he was all that serious, that he was football first, and some of these guys, like we talked about Andrew Ramirez committing just to freestyle, and then we were expecting him to make the Olympic spot. That didn't happen. Obviously, their intention is to make their dreams come true, but there's a big talent pool out there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, I have said it a lot. I said, I wasn't sure how Ben would be able to balance both. And I thought it was going to be maybe not the best career move because both sports, especially at the Division 1 level like he's at, demand so much attention and so much dedication and discipline. Um, Ben was, as we saw last season, a little bit undersized for heavyweight, I would say. And I think that's a lot to do with, having to maintain a certain size for his position in football while still maintaining his speed and athletic ability that he required to be, a tight end. Um, and we saw him come into the season and really we're like, okay, he's good. We know he's pretty good, but he wasn't the prospect that he came into Iowa wrestling as. And I think that a lot of that had to do with being committed to football. And
Yeah,
I
but he
think
only wrestled like 5 matches and
yeah,
he redshirted.
that's true. No, I understand, but I think that like I'm a big believer in if you try to do both things to the best of your ability, it usually comes out at the same time. At least, you know, you typically one of them is going to falter, or
Or
both are going to
neither.
falter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more likely you're 100% committing yourself to two things.
you're going to half-ass
You're
both.
basically giving 50% to both things.
Yeah.
Like,
Um, and I wasn't sure if this would kind of continue, especially because I think there's a really, really good chance Ben does eventually enter the NFL. Um, the Cactus, let's go. Um,
let's
I
go.
think there's
Go
a
on,
really,
continue.
I think there's a really strong chance that he does enter the NFL one day. And that's a lot of money. And while wrestling has come a long way with NIL and
Yeah, but
international wrestling and whatnot,
I
I think
think
that there's a
Gable
lot.
Stevenson's proven he doesn't need to play football to
To
play
be honest,
football
we
in
will
the
talk
NFL.
about this in another video. Gable has proven that he can sign a paper.
That's true.
He has
That's
to
true.
make it
Okay,
50,
yeah, but money wise, what's more lucrative? An NFL career which lasts what, 5 years
probably for his position, 12.
for tight end? That's assuming that he's the
Good.
all-star Travis Kelce-esque
Well,
player.
even if he's a practice squad member, he could be in the NFL for 15 years, making $400,000 plus a year.
You don't think Iowa's paying more than that?
They might not, but the longevity of, I don't know how much they'd pay him to stay at Hawkeye Wrestling Club.
If he's getting NCAA titles and world titles, I
But
think
once he graduates, I mean, once he graduates from Iowa in 3 more years, 2 more years, whatever it is, um, where does that, what happens to
4 years.
NLWC money? Well, yeah, with college now, they could be there for another 6. Who knows?
we need antitrust expert Dan Hanley
We
to talk
do.
about the ramifications of the NCAA ruling in terms of
Oh, well, that
college
that is
payouts.
a up and
That's a
coming
video
thing
on
for
its way.
everyone.
Get
Oh yeah,
excited.
Get
Yeah.
pumped up
we
for
got
the legal
special
side of
guests.
CACTUS.
We'll
So
hype that up.
I was surprised, though, I guess, that I think this is awesome for wrestling. Um, I think Ben has the ability to be a world champion again. Um, and if he can continue that momentum, maybe he could do some really serious damage at NCAA's. I wouldn't pick him to beat Kirk right now, especially when you have
And I
guys.
wouldn't pick him to beat Wyatt.
Well, that's what I say. Especially when you have guys returning like Wyatt, um,
Feldman.
Nick Feldman. Uh,
Colton Schultz is back,
yeah,
baby.
Colton Schultz is back, and then Air Bastida as he goes by.
Oh yeah, Air Bastida's back. If
Yeah,
he's
Um,
at his A
heavyweight is
game,
returning
he
pretty much
can beat
everyone.
pretty much
that's the thing,
anybody.
he's super competitive returning, and so I don't know if I'd pick him quite to win a national championship. Let's see what happens with Worlds. If that's a really huge first step, and if he does great there, and he
Even
can,
Feldman.
that's what I mean. Feldman's we're going to talk about it in the U23 video, but Feldman and Kirk shot themselves in the foot by scratching at U23s.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is awesome for wrestling. This is awesome for Ben Keuter. This is the best for Iowa, though, who potentially have a really great bookend now at heavyweight. And not to knock how things went for them last year, but this will be a huge potential in point swing for them.
Oh, you mean you don't think Bradley Hill would do better?
Hey, he won a match at NCAA.
He
I
did win a
think he
match
beat
at
Treffin.
NCAA's. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He won a match. I think that it's just cool to see Ben Keuter so far is able to juggle both. But we saw that he's sacrificing a year of Iowa football.
He's
You know,
killing a year of Iowa football so that he can try to be a world champ and NCAA champ and get that team title.
do you,
Is
I don't
Iowa
know.
even in the conversation for second?
probably not.
Well, I was gonna win it, but
Iowa's gonna win it.
I don't know much about football, but Iowa is a wrestling state.
They're a
Sure,
really
they're
good. Their offensive line is funny enough. Year after year, their offensive line features former high school wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like they're a really big force in the Big Ten. Typically, they do have up and down years. And funny enough, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan are the 3 best Big Ten football schools. So again, like Iowa's like right behind them. But
hmm.
it is a
Hey, at least
wrestling
they have
state.
women's basketball.
They do. Caitlin Clark represent.
Why didn't Nelson Brands wrestle?
That's a good question.
Now that
In
he's
U23s,
Yeah.
he's probably like 28 years
back
old.
and
He
better
might
than
be
ever.
he might be aged out of U23s actually.
What?
We
Yeah,
gotta
he's got like
he's been in
6 years
college a
of
while, dude.
college.
Let's see. I mean, I remember when Nelson graduated, so
It's going to
he's
be very interesting for the
gotta
Iowa
be,
lineup with
yeah.
Nelson Brands coming back, and we'll do a separate Iowa lineup video. But I mean, I want to see Ben Keuter, Gabe Arnold, the high school teammates in the lineup together.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Is
he
AJ
graduated high
Ferrari?
school in I don't think AJ if look, if Ben Keeter's committing,
Hey,
AJ Ferrari ain't coming.
Ben
No, they're
Keegan
buddies. What do you
only
mean?
was able to
AJ's
achieve
not
this.
making 197. I don't buy it.
The only
675
reason,
deadlift, baby.
I think it's
the only
655.
No,
reason,
Ben Keuter's going to do 675.
Oh, Ben is, yeah.
the
Mhm.
only reason that Ben Keeter won the U20 spot was because he is now best friends with AJ Ferrari.
That's exactly it. Also, to circle back, Nelson Brands is like 26, 25. I just looked up his age.
Yeah.
His birthday, he turned 25 already this year.
He's
So
almost he's almost ready to retire with
yeah,
the rate all these other
he's
guys are
aged out.
retiring.
He'll be 26 for NCAA's next season.
Of course he
So
is.
So when it's
Of
like, oh, can you
course.
believe Dayton being so old? It's like, oh man, it's like Nelson Rand's like, hope they don't talk about me like that. Um, so
Oh,
side note to build off that, I just think AJ Ferrari is going to have the same issue at being too large at 197 to fully wrestle like we've seen other kind of like tweeners that are like,
yeah, but he beat. Well, he
he
beat.
didn't beat. He didn't. He lost. Like
He beat.
except he didn't get his
Won
hand
the
raised.
match and then lost the match after winning it.
Yeah. So didn't get his hand raised. That's a loss in everyone's book.
Yeah.
It goes down as a loss.
You don't consider it a win if you do a split and flip off
But
the crowd?
besides that, Zach Glazier wasn't even like he didn't do amazing at NCAA.
He won
Okay,
Big
he's
Ten.
still a Big Ten finalist, though.
No, I
No
know
one
that,
gives
but
this
No, he
dude
didn't win Big
credit.
I love Zach. I was on the Zach Glazier hype train. I was hoping this guy would do better at nationals because I want him to do well. So that way I wouldn't be like, let's get AJ Ferrari back. But even he didn't. And I think that gives more case to AJ is not the guy that, he has all the talent in the world. But I think that he's wasting his potential when he's doing an MMA camp in Florida or, flexing at a gym in Brewster, New York.
Yeah, he
Regardless, though,
flexes in a gym no matter where he is.
he's training. He's an NCAA champion who's training with this young talented kid
Yeah.
who like
Keuter
Are you
is
talking about Ben
learning from
Keuter
the
as the young
national
talented
champ.
kid?
yeah, Ben Keuter.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
AJ doesn't do no. AJ doesn't do freestyle, so Ben's not working with him right now.
Well, yeah, but he will be.
Little things.
He has been. They
They work
post
out
pictures
together.
together all the time.
I don't know about all the
Flexing.
time. They work out. They were in the weight room together for at least one time. We do know that confirmed.
For at
I think
least
there's a
one
little bit
time.
more to that relationship.
I
Come
don't know. I
on.
think
You
Ben
don't
just
just
tries
you
to
don't just
steer
post
clear.
a picture like that. That's your
I mean, have
first
you seen
time.
some of the AJ? Have you seen some of AJ's other pictures that he posts? I think that's pretty common for him to be like, "Yeah, dude, let's just pop our shirts off."
It's an
Yeah, I don't think
exclusive
AJ
club.
ever put his shirt on.
I gotta be honest. Like, I know it's a sidebar, but like, I'm surprised he doesn't get kicked out of like more public gyms because he's practically nude every gym he goes to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people are gonna be like, oh, you've never been to a real gym. It's like I train at a powerlifting gym. I was a world team member for powerlifting. I'm a national level strongman. Like I see real gyms and there's no dudes there that are like, hey man, you mind if I take off my shirt and hike my pants up as high as they can go? Like that's
They're just
usually
getting
a
in
big
the way.
no-no. Besides that, like it's people talk about it in wrestling, like, skin diseases. If you're a sweaty dude laying down on a bench and then you just get up and walk away from it, or you don't clean it to the best of your ability, or even if you do clean it, there can still be cross contamination. That's a whole issue that a gym is not willing to risk. So I'm surprised that, like, from a business standpoint, they're not like, hey man, like, please put your clothes back on more often. Um, again,
He's
just
a local celebrity.
super weird sidebar, but I was like,
He's
I'm
bringing
stoked.
in more business.
Mr. Fast Twitch.
Yeah,
Mr. Fast Twitch.
he makes exercise scientists look like a joke.
So what are you guys' thoughts in the comments down below in terms of Ben
Well, hold
Keuter?
on.
Huh?
How's Ben Keuter going to do in the new Iowa facility?
Well,
The dungeon that Ben Askren loves.
The dungeon, yeah. Endorsed and paid for by Ben Askren.
So
well, I was gonna say we were talking about it kind of in our text chain. Like, there's a lot of Division I facilities that don't have windows.
yeah, that's such a weird thing to draw a hard line on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like you need all this natural light. I'm pretty sure the Penn State room doesn't have many windows, and I could be
I
wrong
don't
on that.
think they do. I'd have
The
to ask my
old one at
wrestlers.
least. The old
Yeah,
one.
well, we had guys. We had a lot of our youth guys went there for a camp this year, and then a tournament as well, and they got to roll around in there. I don't think they had a lot of natural light, but also like I can speak about high school and and youth practices. They're usually at night. Like, does natural light matter at 8 p.m.?
Yeah, you need that natural light
Like
in the
I mean,
darkness.
if every high schooler in America is wrestling in a room that's a gym, I don't at night practices like it usually is. How is that
Yeah,
make a difference for it's like, oh, the Iowa facility doesn't have natural light. Okay, and neither does any high school in America. Like
the
they have
Penn
lights.
State room does not have windows. I'm looking
That's
at
what I mean.
pictures
Like,
right now.
why I don't get why people are drawing a hard line with that. Um
I
I think
remember
I don't even know if I would notice that there weren't any windows until someone else mentioned that there weren't any windows.
I think the difference is because there's a lot of black because that's Iowa's colors, and they're like, "Oh, look at those! It looks like a thunder. Ah,
Oh, because
I
it's
don't
all
know.
dark.
it's all dark."
I
Hey,
think that
ever heard of a light bulb?
I do think there's something to be said though, and I'm kind of middle ground about this because I don't think that the best facility makes you the best wrestler, but I also would agree that like the worst facility wouldn't help you. It would probably hinder you if you had, really dangerously poor quality mats or like, support beams in the middle of the wrestling room that aren't wrapped. While I would say like that probably would hurt, hinder your performance, I don't think like, the best mats and the best everything else is as important as the best coaching staff and the best practice partners. And of course, the best effort and attitude that the wrestler brings into it.
I mean, and
Um,
Ben Keeter has AJ. He's got the brands. He's got this new facility.
he's got
What more do you
Cassio.
want?
I would be happier if you guys are like, oh, he's got Cassiope because at least that's a guy that wrestles freestyle.
He's got
I will
Cassiope.
say though, the high quality facility will attract higher level recruits though.
For sure. I mean,
There
we
is a
see that
wow
with
factor.
yeah, we see that with college football a ton. Um,
They
that
want those perks.
they do. They're like, oh, this is our $84 million new locker room. It's like we have, massage chairs and, flat screen TVs and whirlpools. And, this is our massage.
Never even need to
Again, like,
leave.
yeah. And it's like, I've seen, Alabama football, like, oh, yeah, like this is our Xbox room. Like we just play PlayStation stuff in here. And it's like, well, why, if I was a high school 16-year-old, be like, you mean I could play Xbox at practice? Like, oh, where can I sign up? Like, um, it's definitely a huge wow factor, and it's the schools flexing a little bit. But I like to think that wrestlers are a little bit more grounded, and they're usually like, look, man, I don't know, I'm more of a lunch pail kind of guy, and it's like I'm just gonna put my head down and work no matter where it is.
In this day and age, not everyone's
Yeah,
Andrew Alira's.
that's true. Glad he's staying home, by the way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
He had his
yeah,
nervous
a lot going
run.
on at Iowa. And it's still not going to be enough at least for another year at least.
Yeah.
Hey, if you listen to Ben Keeter, the team's winning the title. I don't know what you guys
I
are
mean,
talking
I don't think he'd be like, and my goal is for us to take top five as a team. Like, I don't think he'd go out and
Yeah,
say
you
that.
can't really hype that up. I mean, Iowa's expectation is always to win. They're
Yeah, well,
Iowa.
that's it. And again, it's funny that like so many people talk down in Iowa. It's like, oh, they've been terrible. Last few years, it's like what, second? They had a championship only like in 2022, I think.
I think they took fifth last year, and that's because half their squad got suspended because of the
Yeah,
Yeah,
gambling
they lost
thing.
Cass, they lost Assad, they lost the Brands.
Yeah. Like you throw those guys in, it's probably a
they're
different
probably
story.
second. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just so funny. People are like, oh, what a poverty friend, poverty team, not doing well at all. It's like their worst year is probably people, most programs' best career, season ever is probably
Hmm.
Iowa's like worst year.
Yeah.
But Ben Keeter, national champ, I don't know. Ben Keeter, world champ, possibly. That's where I'm going to go with that. He has got incredible freestyle prowess. I hope he has enough time to train and really commit to freestyle wrestling. And
Well, he's got however many months.
10 months.
yeah, no, that's
That 10
NCAA.
months is still NCAAs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all that matters at the end of the
no,
day.
well, I was hoping I'd care more. Honestly, I'd care more about him winning a world title than him winning a national title.
I think he's more likely to win a world title than a national title.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, once we do a little bit of a deep dive into the other, U20 world team candidates, or opponents, I guess I should say. Because Iran always brings tough guys. Russia's always got a really tough squad. There's some really, really good young Georgian wrestlers. Uh, and just because you won a world title once doesn't mean you can do it again. It's always fighting, biting, clawing your way to the top with these guys, tooth and nail. So I hope Ben Keeter gets it done. I would love to see him stick with the wrestling route. I wouldn't be surprised if next year he does the reverse. He goes, okay, I'm going to take 10 months off of wrestling and do 10 months of football, but I'll be back for.
I thought you were saying that you thought he was going to be done with football.
Like I said, it depends how it goes this year. I still think
You're
that,
all over the place with it.
well, I think football, at the end of the day, Ben Keuter wants to do what's right financially. He is a young man. He wants to set himself up for the best possible future. And I think that
He
even at the
doesn't need
end
to
of the
play
day,
for
football's going to pay
Iowa
more.
to set himself up.
I still think he's going to make more money in the football route. It's why we see Gable Steveson going the football route instead of being like, yeah, I'll return to college.
Yeah,
Or
he's known for, making good decisions in the past.
yeah, just super well thought out things when it's like this can't possibly
Could
fail.
you imagine Donnie Vincent got Gable to join Buffalo?
I don't know. Let us know your comments down below. Not Gabe Arnold. Ben Keuter, Iowa, the new wrestling facilities, football, Cactus Wrestling. Let us know all your thoughts down below, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.